My wife declared, "You are going to be the free photographer for my sister's wedding." "Is it family?" I replied. "No problem." Then I showed up at the wedding with no batteries in my camera and just ate at the buffet. When the bride asked for the photos the next day, my wife finally realized what I had done. My wife gave me an ultimatum. Either I photographed her sister's wedding for free, or I didn't need to come home. I did exactly what she asked, just not in the way she expected. I am a professional photographer. Not in the sense of having a nice Instagram and a ring light. I mean, I have business insurance, a dedicated studio, and equipment that costs more than my first 3 cars combined. I shoot high-end commercial work and selected weddings. My minimum rate for a wedding starts at $4,000, firm and non-negotiable. And that's the basic package. My wife, 30, knows this. She knows the hours I spend editing until my eyes burn. She knows about the back pain, the stress of dealing with brides who think the sun should change its position in the sky just for them. But my wife comes from a family where boundaries is a dirty word and not just a suggestion. Her younger sister, my sister-in-law, I'll call her Sil, got engaged about a year ago. She is the definition of the golden child. She has never heard the word budget in her life, mainly because my father-in-law, Phil, and my mother-in-law have always paved her way with money. The trouble started a few months ago during a dinner. We were at her parents' house, eating a roast so dry it could choke a camel. Sil tapped her glass with a fork. "Good news," she announced, showing off the ring. "We found the venue. That vineyard in the valley with the weeping willows." "That place charges $6,000 just to open the doors," I commented, taking a sip of water. "It's perfect," my wife said, delighted, "and we're going to save so much on the other vendors to make it fit the budget." Then she turned her gaze to me, a predatory, shark-like look. "We already sorted out the photographer." I kept chewing. I assumed they had hired someone cheap. "You," my wife said, squeezing my hand, "you're going to do it as our wedding gift to them." I stopped chewing. I swallowed the dry meat with difficulty. "Pardon me?" "It's perfect," Sil whined. "I want that style you did for the magazine cover last month. Editorial with moody lighting. I sent you a Pinterest board with about 300 ideas." I pulled my hand away from my wife. "I don't work for free." My voice was calm, but the temperature in the room dropped about 10 degrees. "My equipment wears out. My time is valuable, and honestly, I want to be a guest. I want to drink champagne and dance with my wife, not carry 45 pounds of gear on my back for 12 hours. "It's family," my father-in-law grumbled. "You don't charge family. That's tacky." "Tacky is offering up my professional labor without consulting me. You're donating $5,000 of my work." Sil started tearing up. Her lip trembled. "He doesn't want to do it. He hates me." "I don't hate you. I hate working for free." My wife stood up. "Kitchen, now!" We went to the kitchen. She closed the door and turned to me with an expression I barely recognized. It wasn't disappointment. It was raw, undisguised contempt. "You are going to do this. You are embarrassing me. My parents do everything for us." Narrator's note. They gave us a microwave 3 years ago. That's it. "I am not a prop. I am not their employee. If they want me to photograph, they sign a contract and pay for the service. Friends and family discount is 20%. That's it." "If you don't do this," she said, looking straight into my eyes, "don't come home today. This is my sister. This is important to me. If you love me, you will do this. Just take the damn pictures. Stop being selfish." I looked at her, truly looked, and saw the ultimatum. I saw that my value to her was conditional on my usefulness to her family. She was willing to use our marriage as a bargaining chip to save Daddy a few $1,000s. That's where something turned inside me. It wasn't anger, it was something colder, It was clarity. "All right," I replied. Her face instantly relaxed into a satisfied smile. She thought she had won. "See, that wasn't so hard. You're the best." "No problem. It's family." For the next 3 months, I was the perfect photographer. I responded to Syl's 2 a.m. texts about lighting. I nodded when my mother-in-law told me which specific wrinkles she wanted me to Photoshop out. I let everyone treat me like contracted staff. The wedding day arrived. I put on my suit, grabbed my dual harness, attached the 2 main camera bodies, true mirrorless monsters, full frame. I separated the lens trinity. I looked like a photographer ready for battle. I left my memory cards stacked on my office desk. I left all my batteries on the charger. I arrived at the venue. Syl was already screaming at a bridesmaid because the dress sash was the wrong shade of pink. "You made it! Okay, get to work. I want candid shots of us getting ready. Make me look thin." "You got it." I raised the camera, looked through the viewfinder, framed perfectly, and didn't press anything. Even if I had pressed it, the shutter wouldn't fire. That equipment was a dead piece of metal in my hand. For the next 10 hours, I gave the performance of my life. I crouched in the bushes. I climbed on chairs to get the right angle. I gave people instructions like chin down, turn slightly to the left. Perfect. I raised the camera, manually adjusted the focus ring to look like I was working, and felt like I was checking the LCD screen behind the camera. During the ceremony, I was on the front line. I walked backward down the aisle, got close to the officiant, captured the kiss, the tears, the exit.
During the reception, they put me at the vendor table, not with the family, but with the DJ and the buffet. My wife was at the main table, laughing, not even looking at me. "Tough gig, huh?" the DJ commented, mouthful of pasta. "You have no idea," I replied. I ate the buffet food, drank the wine, put the camera on the table, and just watched. I watched them celebrate. I watched my father-in-law, Phil, bragging to his friends about how he got the best photographer in the state for free because he knows very well who supports who. I almost choked on my dinner roll. At the end of the night, the bride came up to me, sweaty and drunk. "I can't wait to see the pictures. Send me a sneak peek early tomorrow for Instagram. I'll see what I can do. No, seriously, tomorrow morning or I'll kill you." She laughed, but she wasn't joking. I went home with my wife. She was radiant. "You were amazing today," she said. "My parents are so proud. Thank you for doing this." "I did exactly what you asked," I replied, and I slept like a baby that night. The small green lights of the battery charger served as night lights, guiding me to a perfectly peaceful sleep. Update 1. The next morning was quiet, too quiet. I woke up around 8 a.m. My wife was still asleep, hungover from the cheap champagne. I went to the kitchen, made coffee, and sat at the counter. From here, I could see my office. The memory cards were still stacked on the desk, exactly where I left them. At 9:30 a.m., my phone vibrated. "Syl, woke up married, LOL. Where are the pics? Need to post." I took a sip of coffee. Another message. "Syl, hi, Mom is asking too." My wife showed up a few minutes later, holding her head. "Oh, my sister is blowing up my phone. She wants the sneak peeks. Can you just send her 5 or 10 good ones so she'll stop?" "I can't do that," I replied calmly. "Why? Did the internet go down?" She poured coffee without looking at me. "No, the internet is fine." "Then just transfer them to your phone and send them. It takes 2 seconds. "I can't transfer what doesn't exist." She froze. The cup stopped halfway to her mouth. She turned slowly to me. "What did you say?" I said, "I can't transfer files that don't exist." "I don't understand. You took pictures all day. I saw you." "You saw me holding a camera," I corrected. "You saw me in the right places, but you didn't see me take any photos." I stood up and walked toward the office. She followed, confused. I pointed to the charger on the nightstand, 4 fully charged batteries, then to the stack of SD cards. I didn't bring batteries, and I didn't bring memory cards. She stared at the charger. Her brain was trying to reject the information. It was like watching a computer crash in real time. So you used backups? Bought new ones? No. The cameras were dead. Bricks. Paperweights. I didn't take a single picture. None. Zero. This is a joke. Her voice was trembling. Tell me it's not funny. Say it's a prank. The prank, I replied, leaning against the door frame, was you and your family thinking you could blackmail me into doing $5,000 of work for free. You said I had to be the photographer or I didn't need to come home. So I was the photographer. I played the part perfectly. You ruined her wedding, she whispered. I didn't reply. She had a wedding. She got married. She has memories. She just doesn't have high-resolution proof to hunt for likes on social media. You psychopath! She lunged at me instantly. She threw the coffee cup, narrowly missing me, and it shattered against the wall. Then she started hitting my chest with her fists. Fix it! Go and fix it! Do something! I can't fix what's already passed. She ran to the bedroom and grabbed her phone. I heard her screaming at her mother. He didn't take any! Mom, he didn't take a single one! He fooled us! I knew I had about 20 minutes before my in-laws arrived like a tactical team. I went to my safe, grabbed my passport, my cash reserves, and the hard drives with my actual client work. I packed a bag, walking past her in the hallway. She was collapsed on the floor, sobbing. Where are you going? You can't leave! You have to fix this! I'm going to a hotel, then to a lawyer. I checked into a decent hotel downtown. I turned off my cell phone. When I turned it back on 3 hours later, the screen was a wall of text. You're a monster. You're sick. I'm going to sue you for everything you have. This is fraud. I hope you die. You ruined my wife's life. I'm emptying the joint account. You deserve nothing. I saw that last message and immediately logged into the bank app. She had already initiated a full transfer, about $18,000. I called the fraud center right away. My wife and I are separating and she is draining marital assets without authorization. Freeze everything. They froze the account pending investigation. Then I called my lawyer. We'll call him Dan. Dan is expensive, but he's mean. I like Dan. When I explained the situation, he was trying not to laugh. Let's confirm. Did you sign a contract? No. Did you receive any payment? Even $1, a gas card? I ate dry chicken and drank 2 glasses of cheap wine. That's it. And you never verbally agreed to a specific service. You only said you would do it. I said no problem. Dan chuckled. Okay, so they can't sue you for breach of contract because there was no compensation, no payment, no contract. They also can't charge you with fraud because you didn't take any money. They can try to sue you for emotional distress. Good luck to them. But yes, your marriage is over. That part I already figured out, Dan. The following days were a siege. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Random numbers, cousins I hadn't seen in 5 years calling me to say I was a disgrace. Syl went to Facebook. She wrote a huge wall of text that had a "See More" button. She claimed I sabotaged the wedding out of jealousy. She claimed I demanded $10,000, and when they refused, I deleted the photos. A lie, obviously. She tagged my professional photography page. In less than an hour, I had 20 one-star reviews on Google. Despicable photographer ruined bride's day. Don't trust this man. This was the escalation I was waiting for. They wanted to mess with my livelihood. Fine. I went to my business page and made a public post regarding the recent wave of reviews from the last name family. I was never contracted to photograph this wedding. I was a guest. The family demanded I work for free. After I refused and was threatened by my wife with an ultimatum, I attended the event. Guests are not obligated to deliver professional work. I did not delete photos. I simply did not work for free. I also attached a screenshot of a text message from Syl sent 3 months ago. I don't care if it's your job, it's family. Just do it. Mom said you don't need to be paid. The internet loves a villain, but it loves proof even more. The local community saw the screenshot. The Bridezilla groups found the post. The negative reviews started being flagged and removed. My wife, or rather my ex, is currently staying at a parent's house.
She sent me an email yesterday, since I blocked her number. Subject: Truce. Message:
If you edit the photos, I know you have them, stop lying, we can call off the divorce. My parents are willing to forgive you if you deliver the album." I didn't reply. There are no photos. There is no album. There is only the sweet, silent justice of an empty memory card. Update 2. It's been 3 weeks since the wedding of the century. I'm currently living in an Airbnb that smells like lavender and questionable choices, but it's quiet. The mess has escalated from family drama to legal warfare. My father-in-law, a man who thinks money can buy even gravity, hired a lawyer, a typical ambulance chaser. I received a demand letter delivered by messenger to my studio. They are demanding $25,000. The list of damages is hilarious. Value of the photography package I didn't deliver. Cost to redo the wedding. Hair, makeup, venue rental, etc. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. I handed the letter to Dan. Dan took a red pen, circled the word compensation, and drew a question mark next to it. "They're bluffing," Dan said. "They know they don't have a case. They're trying to scare you into settling." But then came the fun part. Since they opened a lawsuit, we can now demand discovery. Discovery? I asked. If they want to claim financial prejudice, we have the right to see their finances to verify if they could have paid a photographer, proving they specifically targeted you for exploitation. We sent the response. We reject all allegations. We are prepared to go to trial. Please submit all financial records pertaining to the wedding budget. Their silence was immediate. Apparently, the father-in-law's finances aren't as perfect as he pretends. But Sil wasn't finished. She realized the online smear campaign had failed, so she aimed for the low blow. She called the police. I was at the studio editing a commercial job for a shoe brand when 2 police officers walked in. "Sir, we received a report of theft," said the older one, visibly bored. "Theft from what?" "A wedding album and photographic equipment belonging to the lady." My sister-in-law told the police that she had purchased my equipment during the wedding and that I stole them when I left the house. Calmly, I went to my filing cabinet, pulled out the receipts for my 2 main camera bodies and my 3 best lenses, all dated 4 years ago, before the wedding. I bought all of this before we got married. They are premarital assets, and there is no wedding album because I didn't take any photos. The officer analyzed the receipts, looked at me. "So this is a civil dispute?" "It's a divorce," I replied. "Have a good day." They left. That was a mistake on her part. Filing a false police report looks very bad in family court. My ex-wife is realizing that without my income, her lifestyle is unsustainable. She works part-time as a social media coordinator for a boutique that gets maybe 3 clients a day. She makes about $1,200 a month. Our mortgage is $2,800. She can't pay the bills. She requested temporary spousal support. My lawyer argued that since she is living with her parents and I am paying the mortgage on the house where I can't live, she doesn't need support. The judge agreed. But the most satisfying part, the photo reshoot. I found out about this from a mutual friend who is still on the fence but leaning toward my side because he likes beer and I buy the beer. The family decided to reshoot the wedding photos. They couldn't get the original venue. The vineyard would only open again for another $6,000, so they went to a public park. They dragged the groom, the bridesmaids, and the groomsmen there on a Sunday. But still, they didn't want to pay full price. They hired a photography student from the local community college. Poor kid. They paid him $300. It rained, and not that romantic drizzle, but a heavy rain that turned to mud, ruined hairstyles, and smeared makeup. Sil had a meltdown in the park gazebo. The groom, who was usually quiet, apparently lost his temper. Witnesses heard him screaming, "I told you to just pay him. I told you this would happen." He ripped off his suit jacket, threw it into a puddle, and got into his car. He drove away. He left the bride
at the park. The photos the student posted to his portfolio are tragic. The lighting is flat, the bride looks like a drowned rat in a designer dress, the groom has the expression of someone considering turning to a life of crime just to escape that situation. My ex is trying to do damage control. She sent me a message from a burner number yesterday. "You ruined everything. My sister's marriage is falling apart because of you. I hope you're happy. Just give us the files and I'll make it all stop." I replied, "I can't give you what doesn't exist, and her marriage is falling apart because she married a guy who doesn't respect her and into a family that values appearances more than people. Sound familiar?" And I blocked the number. I'm not looking for a permanent apartment. I've started dating casually. It's pleasant. I went out with a girl yesterday. She asked what I did. When I told her I was a photographer, she asked if I had a portfolio. I showed her. She didn't ask for free photos. She offered to pay half of dinner. I think I'm going to be fine. Update 3. 6 months have passed. The divorce is finalized. The legal battle wasn't a war. It was more like watching their arrogance slowly asphyxiate. My ex tried to claim half the value of my business. Since I built my client list during the marriage, she claimed she was entitled to a share of future earnings. Dan, my shark lawyer, made a masterful move. He took Syl's deposition, getting her on the record admitting that she and the family demanded free services.
Use the text messages. It painted a portrait of a family that saw my business not as an asset to be valued, but as a cash cow to be milked dry. The judge, clearly someone with his own traumas involving in-laws, had zero sympathy. The decision. I keep 100% of my business and equipment. We sold the house. The profits are split 50-50 after I receive reimbursement for all the mortgage payments I made while not living there. No alimony. She is young, healthy, and has a degree. She can work. The house was sold last week. The market is hot, so we got a good profit. I took my half and put a down payment on a condo in the city. It has exposed brick and great light, every photographer's dream. What happened to them? My ex had to move out of the old house. Obviously, she can't afford an apartment in the cool neighborhood she loves so much. She is living in a rented basement in a suburb 40 minutes away. She had to sell the luxury SUV, which was in my name, lease transfer denied, and now drives a 10-year-old Honda. I hear she's been going around saying I was financially abusive. No one believes her. The evidence is too public. Syl. This is the icing on the cake. The grown, let's call him Dave, filed for divorce. Annulment. He alleged financial fraud. It seems she had $70,000 in hidden credit card debt in addition to irreconcilable differences. He moved out 3 months after the wedding. Syl is back at her parents' house. She tried to become a wedding influencer on TikTok, making videos about the big day disaster. It backfired spectacularly. The comments were brutal. "So you tried to exploit family labor and found out the photographer was the hero? Imagine losing your husband because you wanted free photos." She paid the price. My in-laws are miserable. They lost reputation in the community. The story of the free photographer spread through the country club. Now they are known as the kind of people who try to exploit vendors. They weren't invited to the summer ball this year. As for me, my business is booming. Ironically, the assertive photographer who won't take crap turned out to be an extremely attractive brand for a certain type of high-end client. I raised my price to $6,000. I'm sitting in my new living room now. I have a glass of real bourbon, my camera's on the table, batteries fully charged, memory cards formatted and ready. And I learned a valuable lesson. Family is not a magic word that grants access to my labor. It's not a complete sentence, and sometimes the most powerful photo you can take is the one you decide not to take. I am free, and the view from here is great. Reddit comment of the day. In the end, he only proved one thing. When family tries to use you as unpaid labor, the best response is to give them exactly what they paid for: nothing. They lost reputation, a marriage, a party, even the country club.
He lost a wife who was already past her expiration date. On the balance sheet, pure profit.
I discovered my wife was cheating on me with my brother. I divorced her and cut contact with my toxic family. Years later, everything took an unexpected turn. Just when I thought the betrayal had destroyed everything, they came back. I've been married to my wife, Raquel, 32, for 6 years. We have a very strong relationship. I'd say we had the normal drama of any couple over the years, but we grew through it and have a loving relationship. Everything was fine until about 8 months ago when my brother, Sam, 28, moved back to our hometown after living in Florida since he was 18. His long-term girlfriend broke up with him and moved to another city, leaving him devastated. The circumstances behind the breakup are still largely unknown. When my brother returned, he told us she was cheating on him with women. I didn't know her that well, but that sounded a bit absurd to me. I only met that woman 3 times because my brother only came home for Christmas and usually only stayed 3 or 4 days. She accompanied him twice during the 5 years they were together. The other time I met her was when my wife and I visited for a day during our vacation 3 years ago. She just didn't seem like the type of person who would lead a double life and leave Sam with nothing. I tried to talk to her once, but saw I'd been blocked, so I let it go. Sam moved back in with our parents, Greg and Jane. For the first month he was here, he struggled to find work. So I suggested that maybe Raquel could help him. She's in a high-level position at her company. I figured she had some pull. She did, and he got a spot in her department. It's a job in his field. To give some context, my brother and I were never very close. He's the golden child, at least for our father, and our mother is a doormat when it comes to our dad. It's not something very obvious, but rather a million little things. For example, we both got cars when we turned 16, but I got an 8-year-old Dodge Neon, and he got a 2-year-old Mitsubishi Eclipse. His sports practices, uniforms, and competitions cost thousands of dollars over the years. Some of those competitions were 6 or 7 hours away, and they never blinked an eye. Meanwhile, when I asked for $50 for a volleyball or basketball camp at the local college here in our town, they gave it to me, but it felt like I was asking them to build an arena just for me. What annoyed me the most was that when I was 17, I was out with my girlfriend, lost track of time, and came home 15 minutes after curfew. They took my car away for an entire month because of it. Then, the next year, when my brother came home 2 hours late smelling of cigarettes, he just got a reprimand. I wasn't exactly sad when he went to college and decided to stay in Florida. Despite all this, he started spending more and more time at our house. At first I thought it was cool because maybe he was trying to get closer to me, but then I started noticing that he and Raquel were getting very close. They'd talk for a long time about anything. They started having inside jokes. If I tried to chime in, they'd say, "Oh, that's work stuff." When I asked my wife, she just said they had a lot in common and were working together on several company projects. The first really strong red flag was that after about a month of this, he started being at our house when I got home from work. Raquel and I have different schedules. She works the traditional hours from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and I work from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. This happened quite often. When I asked, the answer was always, "We had some work stuff to wrap up." 2 months ago, I noticed something that made me question my own sanity. I make the bed every day before I leave for work. I always leave the open side of the pillowcase facing the edge of the bed. Sam was there that day. When I got home, he had dinner with us, then went back to my parents' house. When we went to bed, I noticed that 2 of the pillowcases had the opening facing the middle. I asked her if she had been lying on the bed during the day. She looked a little shaken, but said, "No, why are you asking?" I replied, "The bed isn't the way I left it this morning." She insisted I must be mistaken because no one had been lying there. I checked her phone and laptop without her knowing and found nothing. But then again, they worked together 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and were still together after work. Why would they need to text? I felt like I was going crazy. 2 weeks ago, our parents invited us over for dinner. Everything was going fine until I saw something. Raquel was just walking by, and Sam lightly held her arm. She turned to him, and he whispered something, and then they touched foreheads. It was only for a second.
Raquel quickly pulled away and kept walking. Sam just looked at me, smiled, and went back to what he was doing. I'm not an idiot. I know this is a mountain of red flags. I just didn't want to believe it. I have loved my wife since I was 21. I planned a weekend trip to the city. I was going to talk to her there about these things. I truly hoped it wasn't what I was thinking. Update. You are all right, and my world has been destroyed. We went on our weekend getaway. Friday night was good. We drank, danced, were intimate. The next day, we had more things planned, and I barely said anything. I truly thought she couldn't be doing that with him while doing this with me. I was so wrong. We were almost ready to start our Saturday when I asked her point blank if she was having an affair with my brother. Her eyes filled with tears, and she said yes. My heart shattered. I asked why. She said she was sorry, that she didn't want it to happen. She said they just clicked, and before she knew it, they were kissing and then going beyond that. I asked if she had slept with him in our bed before I got home from work. She just turned her face away in shame. I left right then. I had nothing but my bag and drove straight home without her. She took an Uber and arrived a few hours later with the rest of my things. She tried to apologize, but I didn't acknowledge anything. I just cried. She packed a suitcase and went to a hotel. The next day, I told my parents. They already knew. They said they were sorry for what happened and mentioned that Sam had left the night before and might not be back for a few days. I'm sure he went to stay with Raquel. This all happened 3 months ago. Our divorce is almost finalized. Raquel immediately rented an apartment, and Sam moved in with her. I only talked to her about the divorce. At first, she said I could keep the house and the savings. I think that was guilt talking. After a few days, she backed out and said we'd have to split the house. I know that was Sam putting ideas in her head. I had already transferred all the money from the savings to a new account, so there was no fight on that part. Just like that, 9 years of my life are gone. She has no idea what she's getting into. He's the narcissist, and he'll discard her when he gets bored. Sam has been extremely cruel through all of this.
A few days after I found out, he tagged me in a Facebook post. It was a selfie of him and her, with her kissing his cheek from behind. The caption said, "Feeling loved." It was disgusting. I logged out of my account and deleted the app from my phone. About an hour later, he texted me saying, "Sorry, man, didn't mean to tag you. No hard feelings. Hope we can still be close. You'll find your soulmate one day, too." I blocked him. I blocked him on everything I could think of. My parents weren't much better. They pretended to be supportive at first. When I said I was going to cut contact with Sam and Raquel, my mom looked at me and said, "I'm sorry this happened. It shouldn't have happened this way, but your brother also deserves to be happy. You'll find someone, and then we can put this behind us." I was furious and told her about the post where he tagged me and the message he sent. My mother replied, "Well, you shouldn't even be on those things anyway." My dad didn't say anything the whole time. He just sat there. I asked him once what he thought, and he said, "I agree with your mother," then left the room. I'm going to cut off all contact with them too. The house will be sold soon, and I'm moving to another state. I won't tell anyone in my family where I'm going or when. In fact, I haven't even told them that's the plan. I'm done with all of them. I wish the worst for everyone. Update. Hi, everyone. I know it's been a while since I last updated, but a huge situation has happened. I'll start by talking about myself. I recently got engaged. It took a lot of therapy for me to open up again. I tried dating shortly after settling down here in Minnesota. I went out with one woman, once, an okay first date, but I quickly realized how unbearable she was. After that, I swore I'd never get involved with any woman again. That's when I went to therapy, to process all the trauma from the betrayal by my wife and brother, as well as the abandonment by my parents. It was a difficult year, but I met Emily, 37. Emily is wonderful. She's a chef, and she and her fraternal twin sister Emma own a very successful restaurant and bar. I am so excited to build a future with her. Now, enough about me. I need to tell you about the audacity of my family.
About a year and a half after I left, I was totally no contact with them. I didn't tell them where I moved, only a few friends and a few closer cousins knew. One day, I came home and found a wedding invitation in the mail. It was the invitation for Raquel and Sam's wedding. It had a ridiculous photo of the two of them embracing in a sunflower field. Along with it came a letter from my parents. It basically read, "You need to forgive and move past this. We know things didn't happen in the best way, but we are family, and families overcome problems." They even said that Sam wanted me to be his best man, just as he was in my wedding. Like, what the hell? That letter reopened a lot of old wounds. At the time, my therapist got a lot of extra work because of it. Today, I find it funny. But at that moment, there was nothing funny about it. I didn't respond at all. The only thing I did was figure out which extended family member had passed my address to my ex's family, and I cut contact with those people too. And this brings us to the most recent drama. Last week, Raquel of all people, showed up at my apartment. Emily and I don't live together yet, but that will change soon. Raquel looked good, too good. She was clearly trying to look her best when she showed up. I asked, "What do you want?" She said, "I just want to talk. I'm sorry for what I did. Sam and I are getting divorced. I found out he was unfaithful our entire marriage. Surprise, surprise. I don't expect you to take me back, but we should talk and get some closure for both our sakes." I blinked twice. Like, what? She had lost touch with reality. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "No, I am not giving you any closure. You made your bed, now lie in it. Did you really think that the Golden Boy ladies' man, who had more traffic than the Holiday Inn, was going to put up a no vacancy sign just because you put a ring on him? You are even dumber than I thought. I don't forgive anything. I don't want anything from you. I don't care. I'm better now, and I always will be. You can go to hell." Then I turned around and went back into my apartment, locking the door behind me. I immediately called my landlord, who is the sweetest old man in the world. Over these 4 years, I've become quite close to him, and he knows about my previous marriage. Raquel was still standing there in the hallway. A few minutes later, his 2 nieces, who help with the building's maintenance, showed up and informed Raquel that she was not welcome there and was on a ban list. If she came back, they would call the police for trespassing. I expected that to be the end, but it wasn't. I have a very easy work schedule now from 9 to 5. Because of this, I go to the restaurant almost every night Emily is managing. I don't get in the way, I just hang out, enjoying the few minutes she can give me between tasks. I've become friends with most of the staff, which includes many of Emily and Emma's relatives. Honestly, it's the family environment I always wanted. I was there the next night when Raquel walked in and just came and sat down at my table. It was a slow Tuesday. Emily noticed immediately and came over to see if I was okay. She recognized Raquel from the photos I had shown her. Emily extended her hand to Raquel. Emily just looked at her hand and then asked me, "Do you want me to kick her out?" I said, "Not yet. I have 1 or 2 more questions." Raquel perked up as if she was winning something. I asked her what happened between her and Sam. I admit, it was pure morbid curiosity.
She said he was having at least 2 affairs with married women. Old habits die hard, I guess. She said this had been going on for 2 years. She tried to look sad and said it was a difficult phase for me. I rolled my eyes and interrupted. "You're not that stupid. Did you protect yourself, or did he end up with half of your things?" She replied with an arrogant little smile. "I put up with him for almost another year to manage to hide money and sell some assets. In the end, he got a fraction of what he normally would." I asked, "And what happened to him afterward?" She replied, "He had to move back in with your parents again." I smiled, satisfied, and said, "Great, that's what I wanted to hear. You can leave now." Emily finished sternly, "You heard him? Get out of my restaurant." Raquel started, "But I cut her off. "No forgiveness, no closure. I just wanted to know that my failed brother moved back home. Get lost." Emily stood up and pointed toward the door. Raquel looked around and saw that the bartender and 2 of the waiters were glaring at her. She stood up, completely deflated, and walked toward the door. Emily added, "And if you ever come back, Raquel quickly interrupted. Okay, I know. Police, trespassing, etc. After she left, almost everyone came over to ask if I was okay. It was both nice and a little embarrassing. My future in-laws, whom I adore, called and practically demanded that I stay with Emily for the next few days, just for safety. It was very sweet. I never had a family care for me like that. I haven't heard anything from Raquel since then, and honestly, I hope I never do again. Final update. First, about me. I am now a 41-year-old father of 2 girls, one 6 and one 2. Emily and I are doing very well. Today, I work part-time as the administrative manager for the restaurants and am mostly a stay-at-home dad the rest of the time. Emily's cousin bought a share of the business, and we opened a second location 3 years ago. It's been a lot more work, but with the 3 of us heavily involved in both locations, we've been very successful, and it still allows each of us some personal time. It wasn't exactly the plan, but I'm almost certain I got Emily pregnant when I stayed with her after her parents demanded I do following my last post. Now they joke and say they always wanted to be in charge, and it was all part of their plan. After the last time Raquel tracked me down, I thought it was only a matter of time until my parents or brother showed up. It didn't happen right away. I relaxed a bit because I felt like I had a complete support system and went back on social media. I remained no contact with most of my family, including my extended family, but I also had no illusion that they couldn't find me if they really tried. It wasn't until after our first daughter was born that I received the first message. It was from my father. He gave a half-hearted apology, said something about forgiveness, and asked about his granddaughter. I was gonna block him immediately, but the implication that my daughter was his granddaughter disgusted me. So I replied, "You don't have grandchildren. I am not your son, and therefore my children have no relation to you whatsoever. If you want grandchildren, then you should encourage Sam to go out there and do what he does best." Then I blocked him. He created other accounts and tried to contact me for a while, but I always ignored or deleted any requests or messages. This brings me to the recent drama. I started receiving a flood of requests and messages to get in touch with them. I read a few. It was a sob story about missing the life of their grandchildren and wanting to reconnect. I didn't care. I had no intention of including them in my life again. Then came the most absurd part. Sam started reaching out to me too. He didn't say much, just that he really wanted to talk to me. After about 3 weeks of this, I agreed to a Zoom meeting. Just me, no kids. As soon as the call started, they kept asking to see the girls. I was firm. That wasn't going to happen. They already had 3 grandparents, and that was it. Emily's mother, father, and grandmother. I was starting to think this was about something else. Sam looked pretty rough, and my parents looked old and tired. When we started talking, they began apologizing for everything that happened, right up to Sam. He said he was wrong for what he did and wanted his brother back. I found that laughable. My father then took over and went into that usual garbage speech about being family and taking care of each other. When he finished, I just looked at him and said, "Is that all you have to say? I'm hanging up." They yelled for me to wait, and the facade dropped. The real reason finally emerged. Apparently, Sam had been having health problems for the last few years. For some reason, his kidneys are failing, and he needs a transplant. That's why they were trying to talk to me so insistently. A family member has a much higher chance of being a compatible donor. I asked directly, "So that's why you called me? You want me to save him after what he did? Cheating with my wife wasn't enough. Now he needs a piece of my body, too." My father exploded. "Stop being like this. This was all a long time ago." He started choking up, crying, and continued, "I understand. You hate us. But he'll die if he doesn't get the transplant soon. Is that what you want? I know you think he destroyed you in the worst possible way, but please, just once, can you let it go?" I remained silent, waiting to see if they would say anything else. Eventually, my mother spoke. "Look, we are sorry for everything that happened, but we're in really big trouble. Between his medical bills and him not being able to work, my father and I are getting older and have our own problems too. We're drowning. We need you to come back to Missouri to see if you're a match, but we also need help, or we're going to end up losing the house." "So you need my kidney and my money?" I said.
Don't put it that way, she replied. Then Sam chimed in. Please, just come home. I need my older brother. I don't want to die. Can you just come and see if you're a match? If you're not, we'll never bother you again. I told him I needed to think, do some research, and that I would give them an answer the following night. I ended the call and went to talk to my wife. She said she supported me 100%, whatever my decision was. Then she asked if we should travel as a family, or if only she should go with me. I said no to both options. I was going alone. I notified my former family that I would do the tests here in Minnesota, and if I was a match, I would go there and we could discuss the rest. About a week later, I got the results. Apparently, Sam and I were a perfect match. I agreed to fly back home to the area. When I arrived, Sam was already having some complications and had to be admitted to the hospital. This stopped everyone from pressuring me to have a family dinner, which I had no intention of doing. Especially since whenever I had a spare minute, my parents would revert to asking if I had thought about helping them with their financial difficulties. They managed to stabilize Sam, and I went to talk to the doctors who would perform the transplant. They started explaining the entire procedure, and I said I wanted to have that conversation with everyone present. So we all went to Sam's room. My parents were already there. A doctor began explaining the situation. Sam had at most 6 months to live without the transplant. They detailed the entire process and made a big deal about how I was a perfect match, that the chance of finding a more viable donor was minimal, and that the sooner we scheduled the surgery, the better. Then I walked up to Sam, took his hand, looked into his brown eyes, and said, "Did you hear that? I am a perfect match. Basically, I am the only person who can save you, and I won't. You are the most narcissistic piece of trash I have ever known. I only came all this way so you would know that the only person who could keep you alive is the person you destroyed the most. And now you are paying for it with your life. You are going to die. Make peace with that." Sam started crying desperately. My parents turned to attack me. The doctor and nurse stood there in total shock. I looked at my parents and said, "Don't even think about speaking to me, and never have the nerve to ask me for anything again. The only money I would spend on you would be for your funeral, provided you were cremated and the ashes were delivered to me, and the moment I received them, I would flush your remains down the filthiest chemical toilet I could find." After that, I walked out of the room and didn't look back. Now I'm back home, my real home, surrounded by my real family, and I couldn't be happier. Reddit comment of the day. They didn't want family. They wanted a kidney with free shipping and an ATM with a guilty conscience. He was just good enough to confirm compatibility and remind them of the blood tie. Some bridges, when you burn them, light your way straight to the abyss. Good luck to them.